welcome to our masterclass today. My name is Gemma. If you haven't met me before, I'm a content curator here at the Digital Tech Academy, or DTA for short. So thank you so much for so many of you for turning up on time. That's always really wonderful when you have people in the waiting room. So thank you so much, everyone who got in on time and you're here right now. So thank you. So let's get started. What we'll do is I'll do a quick introduction and then I'll hand over to Matt here, who will take us through the guts of the presentation today. So first of all, just a little bit about DTA. I know some of you know who we are and you're quite familiar with us, but if you're not, here's a really quick overview. So we're the creators of unique industry-focused qualifications and short courses. This includes the Diploma of Digital Marketing, the Advanced Diploma of Digital Marketing, and the brand new and very exciting Diploma of Artificial Intelligence. Our courses are designed to help people both kickstart exciting careers and take their careers to the next level. They're designed to build the skills employers want, and they can really help you to accelerate your career. So the theme of today's masterclass is Mastering the Art of Storytelling Through Design. This is really exciting because marketing and design work so closely together. So think about different marketing materials that you have. You know, these are things like websites, ebooks, social media posts, online ads, and so on. And the design of these things are just so important. If if they look professional, if they look interesting, if they really look well designed, they draw you in, they grab your attention, and you want to interact with them. And then on the flip side, if they don't look well designed, they can do the opposite. They can kind of put you off. They can make you start questioning if the brand is trustworthy, if you really want to engage with it. So design is super important. It's something that's really valuable for all marketers to understand. Every piece of marketing content that goes out into the world needs to be designed. So if you want to be a marketer, or if you're already working in marketing, it's really useful to have some design skills, or at least understand what design is about. It'll help you work better with designers. And if you're in a smaller organization and you're more hands-on with creating those finalized pieces, it'll help you do that a lot better. So I'm really excited to have Matt Paul here today to share his insights on design for storytelling. Before I introduce Matt, just a couple of really quick ground rules. So firstly, it would be really appreciated if you could keep your microphone on mute. We just don't want any background noise coming along and interrupting this fantastic presentation that Matt's about to do. We'll also be giving you the opportunity to ask questions after Matt's presentation. So there's a Q&A box that you can drop those questions into, or feel free to drop them into the chat. What we'll do is we'll hear Matt's presentation after this, and then we'll answer those questions at the end. So a little bit about Matt. He's currently a design and creative consultant. Over the past 22 years, he's worked across a range of different organizations and clients. He's worked for boutique design studios, he's worked in advertising, and for client organizations. He's also freelanced all over Sydney and worked independently as a consultant. Matt has also worked across a range of really exciting brands and campaigns. For instance, he's done some great marketing creative for New Balance, The Iconic, and Gloria Jeans Coffee. And there's a whole lot of other brands as well, I'm sure, that Matt will take you through some of these in his presentation. Matt's the type of person that likes working collaboratively. He likes thinking about how he can help brands combine creative ideas in ways that help solve business challenges. When he's not working or juggling his 3 small kids, he likes to wind down by drawing and painting art. So I'll stop sharing my screen now and I'll hand it over to the fantastic Matt. Just a quick reminder, if you do have any questions, do drop them into the Q&A box or in the chat, and then we'll get onto those in our session at the end. So over to you, Matt.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm just going to take you through this masterclass. This is the first for me, so I've just tried to incorporate insights, my thoughts, my feelings, my observations, and I've probably overshared on a lot of the content, so just bear with me because there's a lot to go through in half of the masterclass. So let me just dive into it. So is that coming up for you guys? Can you guys see that?
No.
No, we
I
can't
think it's
see it.
just loading.
Any luck?
No.
No, it's not coming up at the moment.
One minute, I'll just try again.
Have you guys started yet? Not yet.
We're about to start.
Okay, great.
So just bear with us for a minute or so, just while Matt gets that working. Matt, feel free to send that through in an email as well if you want me to jump in to sharing the
that's
screen
okay.
for you.
How's that going? Is that
Still
working
can't
now?
see it, unfortunately.
Okay.
If it's easier, do you want to jump out quickly and then just come back in and then we can start? Maybe that will just reset it.
Sure, just one moment.
All good. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions, feel free to just drop them into, I guess, the chat box, and we can start, I guess, making a list of questions that we can ask Matt at the end. But yeah, there is a dedicated time at the end, about maybe 15 minutes, that we're dedicating to just questions. So it could be about anything. It could be about digital marketing or what it's like to work in, I guess, industry as well, what the careers look like. So feel free to ask anything that I think you might have in your mind.
Yep, like Jackie said, all questions are welcome. So feel free to ask about marketing campaigns, about design, about anything related to DTA as well, if you're curious. So keep those questions in mind, get them fired up and then drop them into the chat. We have Matt back with us, so hopefully we'll have some luck with seeing his slides very, very soon. Okay, I can see those slides. Hopefully everyone else can too. So
That's perfect, Matt.
I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, how do we get this done?
Yeah, we can see it's perfect.
Great, thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Gemma. So as Gemma said, I've been around the industry for about 22 years. Formerly, I used to work at Unidays as the Associate Creative Director. Boutique design studios, I used less classy words, slutting around Sydney on the freelance market. I've collaborated with brands like New Balance, the iconic Zambro and whatnot. And yeah, just sort of dipped into how I sort of tackle design and artwork on the side. So I'll take you through. So from concept to creation, mastering the art of storytelling through design masterclass. This is just a quick breakdown. So I'll take you through my intro. What is storytelling to me? Where do I start? The audience, the brand, the offer, storytelling in real life, some of my results and takeaways, and just lastly, the Q&A. Okay, so what is storytelling to me? Basically, storytelling is a hard one for me because I'm such a laid back, no BS type creative without that sort of fluff. So to me, it's trying to portray a message or get people to evoke a feeling, whether that's to drive an action or make a sale or whatnot. So it's important to have that story, and then I kind of wrap that around with my design or creative. So trying to elevate it with imagery. It could be illustrations, it could be typography. If you wanted to dip into the layouts, the style, the function, where it's placed and that sort of thing. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but essentially it's just trying to get people to engage and share. So where do I start? Hang on, I'll just get rid of my tab here. I start with myself. So my story, my upbringing, my influences, my values, my likes, my dislikes, surroundings, past experiences, and what or who I do resonate with. So that plays a part of just sort of getting into it and trying to sort of put myself in the picture. And then the audience. So with that, I try to step into the audience's shoes, or Crocs or high heels or whatever they may be. So for instance, what's their scene? You know, what do they do? What's their background? Are they sort of grunge? Are they sort of just more student based, that sort of thing? Who's their team? Do they follow a sports team? Do they have a favorite team? Who's their tribe? You know, who their squad, people they hang out with, and their story just in general, and sort of what gets them excited, what gets them engaged to actually want to be a part of this campaign or project, or, you know, on the flip side, being in marketing, being in creative, and sort of what really drives you to want to get engaged with that. And then I think about other aspects, so more brand aspects. Are they Nike or Adidas? Are they Canon or Nikon, Ford or Holden, Jordan or LeBron? I had a few others, but I kept them out. But you get the sort of picture with that sort of sense. And then also, if I have time, and if it's a broader team, I like to sort of get into GWI, if you guys have heard of that before. Yeah, it's a really good platform. I think Trisha, that was been on before to do a masterclass, has maybe dipped into this, but it's really handy and good to have for just general stats about brands and consumers and whatnot. And I feel it's a really good tool to have to implement and put into your presentations, just to sort of elevate the strength of the idea and backing it up with data and insights. Okay, so the brand, who are they? So I've got 6 considerations off the top of my head that I like to think about when I'm approaching a different brand. I'll just take you through quickly. I'll read them verbatim, so I'll try not to bore you with my monotone voice. Okay, so what's the strength of the brand? Is it well known? Does it have a following? Is it a startup? Something new, something you really got to do the work to sort of get them elevated and in and engaged? What are their brand values? What do they stand for? Are they ethical? Are they, you know, diversity? Are they like sort of Patagonia, for an example, sorry. And then it comes down to, you know, what are the products? What's the strength of the offer? So is it a discount? Is it a sale? You know, is it some sort of experience? It could be a prize or holiday destination or something like that, like a giveaway. And then this is a tricky one. A lot of the time, depending on the brand and your, you know, your connection with the client, and just to try to draw out creative and imagery and video and tone of voice can be quite challenging at times. So it's really important to delve into that. So a lot of the time, I find I try to sort of dig deep and see what's on offer in terms of visuals. So do they align with the creative and the idea that you have in mind? Are they good quality? Can they work across all platforms? So is it going to go on the back of a bus, or is it something really small and intricate and app-based? And more importantly, can we flex the tone of copy? A lot of the times in the past, we've had challenging times with brands that can be sometimes quite arrogant, and they don't want to change their tone of voice or the language that they speak to the audience. When, you know, being marketing and creative people, we kind of know what sort of fits well with the audience. And are we speaking to the right people? So are we speaking to just counterparts or the decision makers within the business? So a lot of the times that helps when you're trying to unlock more budget for bigger ideas, things like that. So I always think that the stronger the idea and how you tell the story should open, you know, hopefully lead to client investment and like a bigger investment. Okay, so the offer. The actions, you know, so the what's in it for me type scenario. What does the audience need to know? What need to do? So what's the action? Again, put yourself in the audience's shoes again. And then the other factors like these kind of contributed to everything. So it could be an annual event, the time of year, is it seasonal, winter, summer? It could be like some sort of fashion brand, the mechanic or the journey to hook the audience. What channels are we going to sort of push? Is it better on social? Is it a print-based project like that? Does the idea again match the budget? Is it strong enough to unlock more budget, depending on who you speak to? And I'm sort of repeating myself here, flexing the brand's visuals and tone of voice again. What's the angle? Is it funny? Is it informative? Is it relatable, shareable? And then ask yourself, like, would you dig the story and be curious to know or click past what that first visual or title or tagline is? This is just like a personal one for me. So I feel like nowadays campaigns are a bit like fast fashion, here today, gone tomorrow. So it's important to collaborate. So don't hide your ideas, like share them amongst your team and the wider team, and or obviously your client as well, because sometimes that one little conversation might open up investment, or it will have a knock-on effect for other opportunities. Educate, show how to back up your ideas through storytelling. Build trust, just ask more questions with your clients, get to know them better, is a handy one to have. And then just try and, if you can, attract like-minded people and brands that want to work with you. So whether you are solo or with a company, and yeah, it just definitely helps that you align and you're on the same wavelength. So personally, I am a Vans and cons kind of guy. I grew up on the coast, so I guess that's sort of skate, surf, music culture. So the challenge for me is always how to entice people into shifting tribes or disrupt their brand loyalty and try something new. So my little segue, speaking of new, storytelling and design in real life. So I've popped in an example or a case study or a project that I've worked in the past. So this one was for losing my voice here, New Balance and Uni Days, and it was a multi-partner campaign. So for anyone that doesn't know Uni Days, essentially it's a app-based sales company. So you get discounts, but on the flip side, it's like a marketplace. From my perspective, we did a lot of B2C, B2B campaigns. So myself, I looked after the brand, all the creative. We had 1.2 million verified members across Australia and New Zealand. So it was important for me to be across all the visuals, socials, emails, campaigns, and day-to-day. And then on the other side, it was more B2B. So myself and the team would really just try to re-engineer campaigns, sell them into the commercial team, and sort of just test the waters with whether it could work on the platform and partners might be engaged with it. So from there, we'd sort of approach partners and see if we can get them in and unlock some budgets and get them into doing either one of 3 tiers of input in investment or a totally bespoke campaign. So for instance, this one was totally bespoke. Okay, so the challenge here was create a strategic campaign that would resonate with the target Gen Z audience and generate excitement, all while showcasing the styles and products unique to New Balance. Okay, and where did I actually start? I actually got New Balance in for a quick workshop. So Tim was one of the guys at the time. We got him in with some of the other marketing team. And we kind of spitballed, for lack of a better term, ideas. And prior to that, I did a bit of a brand audit across 4 different things. So one of those was the website. So I jumped in and just sort of had a look across the site to sort of see where we could sort of pull some stories from with some of their values and whatnot, and just leverage that for a story. Socials, past content. So just going through all their visuals, their socials, their videos, see what's worked in the past. And then on, we'd go for just freestyle. Sorry, I've missed out an E there. Collab. So we'd throw around ideas and just see what sort of stuck in the way Tim would sort of see the business going and how we could sort of align and put uni days as well. Then I thought, you know, stepping back, do I like New Balance shoes? Yeah. Do I own a pair? No, I don't own a pair at the time. And what would sort of convince me to buy New Balance products and break from that brand loyalty to other brands? So first and foremost, I just thought of, you know, other students or other people and my sort of the people around me that have influence on what I might want to wear. And in the response, we came up with this tagline for a creator campaign. So it was choose your MC, so choose your main character. And that was to achieve these business objectives for New Balance. So from that, we broke those into 4 personas, student personas that were like relative, relevant, and they were represented to a reason to love New Balance footwear. So we came up with 4 that the client was happy with. So they were the sneakerhead, the fashionista, the activist, and the runner. And each MC had its new unique style, personality, associated product offering. So it would be a unique shoe, a unique set of apparel for each persona. And that would be housed on the Unidays platform, and we get them to engage with Unidays and make the sale via Unidays. But the story was based through online, offline, and a combination with New Balance. All right, so this is a big one. I'll take you through it. The rationale. So you can tell a lot about a student by the shoes they wear, but no matter their age, background, gender, or what they study, New Balance cater to all like no other brand out there. To hero this sentiment and drive the campaign direction, we created 4 personas to help students relate, engage, and inspire the next generation of New Balance consumers. Plus, to keep this as authentic as possible, we've teamed up with Campus Group and their ambassador program to feature 4 willing students who best fit these personas in real life. A real life photo shoot and fully bespoke campaign. 4 students, each sharing their bio to showcase and capture their student life and love for this Unidays X New Balance partnership. And the tagline we came up with was New Balance fits all student types. So this is just a little quick one behind the scenes, shooting the product and the people in the campaign in Melbourne. That was a fun day. We just did it over one day, fly in, fly out. Lots of fun doing that one with the guys and the wider team. But stepping back and after doing this shoot, I kind of thought, how are we going to differentiate the different personas? So it's hard when you've got a brand, especially a fashion brand that's so polished, and we've set the boundaries with the personas, the different names, we've got the products, we've got our clothing and whatnot, and how to sort of set them apart. So what I actually did was I went away and developed some hand lettering to try and make it a little bit more gritty, a little bit more edgy, and just sort of separate all 4 personas. And what I've done then is weaved like a bit of a toolkit from there, making other different elements and symbols and backgrounds, and weaved it through the campaign. So the tone of voice, we came up with a relatable copy to help drive the theme of personas. Just hoping that someone could really relate to one of the 4 that we've chosen. And just repeating the title and tagline there. And then the channels, so it was pretty much everywhere: on-site, app, email, paid social media positioning, And we even did a custom landing page too, which sort of delved more into looking behind the actual campaign for people who had a little bit more curiosity to go past the Choose Your MC title. And on that page, there was the 4 personas with a breakdown of who they are, what they study, and a bit of a Q&A just to unlock the story behind it. So now we're sort of dipping into the design and how it plays a part in storytelling. So I've actually left out a mood board for inspo on mood board, but I'll take you through this. So apologies for that one. So this is try to sort of set the scene with the layout with the scamps. I'm not sure if you guys use scamps to sort of portray or get like your ideas across quicker, but it's just a really good exercise to do. Just trying to get visuals in there. Maybe you can play with taglines and copy, the subject matter, the composition and whatnot, and sort of just bring it to life. And if it's no good, you can move on and just move on to another scamp, and it's a fast way to get to a better option. And then part of that is the development of the lettering or typography. So just playing with different letters, how they lock up as a group, and the composition of those, and a bit of a play on the patterns and whatnot. So from there, I've gone back and built out a complete toolkit. So on the left here, we've got the hero lockups in different compositions. So we've got one for landscape, one that's sort of stacked, and you can pull those apart and use them across, print and digital with minimum ease. And then we've developed the profile lockups for the personas. So the activist is trying to get that big and bold and caps and out there. The fashionista going into more of a sort of script style, loose. The runner just having a bit more dynamic, a bit more italicized and bold. And then just having a bit of fun with the sneakerhead one there. And then to try and pair everything and get that sort of repetition, I've had the same treatment with the patterns on the right-hand side. Those little squiggles are kind of used for a little breakout copy. And then trying to introduce the personas and, tying in their signature as well, definitely handy to have. And then lastly, it was important for myself to actually get the point across that we actually use real students for this, not just talent. Real students and our Uni Days members. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is a sample of some of the selects from the day. A lot of the product shots we pulled from here for emails. And then thinking about the different personas, we kind of try and take that in mind with each persona and use that and drive that for how they sort of hold themselves, with like that sort of power stance, or the runner with a bit of movement, or a bit of a relaxed one with the sneakerhead. Working with group shots, how we can sort of isolate and hero the product imagery with the shoes. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting enough shots on the day that sort of you can work with. But yeah, we had a really fun day, and I was super happy with how everything turned out. So this is the hero image for the overall campaign, with the 4 personas locked up, sort of pulled apart, different compositions to fit. And that generally went across everything. And then they're sort of broken into their individual personas and profiles. So pulling in their titles, the lettering, their signatures. Again, you're trying to use the repetition of the patterns in the background across the campaign. And then bring it to life with animation. So ways that we can sort of use transitions to help tell the story, give it a bit of movement, make it more dynamic, engaging across socials. And then on the right-hand side, we sort of dip deeper into a little bit of a taste behind the Q&A. So on the actual day of the shoot, one of the girls from the marketing team, we put together a series of questions, and we drew out more information about the campaign and how they felt about being involved in it. and general, what they study and what they do in their day to day. So this is just an in situ version across the Unidays app, how it's sort of broken into, and maybe like, I think it was over a 4 or 5 week base, and the different elements and what sort of ties in with some of the copy, if you can squint your eyes and read in. Are you the sneakerhead? Need a new kind of balance? Are you the runner? Are you the activist? Take a look at Emily's choice of XC72. That's both gender neutral and eco-friendly. And then just going back on the desktop, and we developed a carousel within the new Unidays app to go through without actually going through the campaign. So when you fall on the Unidays app and go to the New Balance page, you can sort of click between the different shoes and products on offer for each persona. And then just a couple of samples of some of the emails that went out. Some Solace ones, just generic ones, letting you know about the campaign. Some with a bit more substance in the middle one that starts to sort of take you in, tell you more about the personas and offer some profiles and a bit more background and substance to take you through to the landing page. And then, yeah, the results. So overall, there was a 35% uplift in online sales, plus 79 increase in total order value during the campaign period, plus 804, year-on-year uplift in online impressions, and plus 25% increase in brand awareness. It should have been a little bit higher. Just quietly, there was a bit of a technicality with the actual discount perk, so we won't tell anyone that. And then I just thought I'd drop in some key takeaways that I consider all the time. So if you can sort of take away anything from this, I'd be happy that you can sort of use this and, make good use of this masterclass. So number one is back yourself, speak up, share your ideas, and they can literally come from anywhere. So if the idea comes from your passion, even better. So with some of the staff and junior designers, I'm always, as my time in uni days, I was always trying to draw from them what sort of things that they were into, whether that's sporting or, gaming or anything, what can they sort of bring to the table to create a bit of a campaign and get them involved and have more skin in the game, for an example like that. If you want to just try something new and big and bold, you just got to put in the work, really. So New Balance weren't really expecting the type of creative and design that we put together and elevated it with the lettering. So they were kind of blown away with the final product, which was a great thing. So you just got to put in the effort to take it to the next level. And this is more of a personal one for me. So if you've had anything to do with more e-com side, just remember that we don't work on the commercial team. So there's no commission. So your commission is doing the best campaigns that you possibly can to get more, better, higher invested campaigns, and actually, can use that for upcoming annual reviews. So that's a little personal tip for me. And then just the current cost of living and client budgets at the moment, it's pretty tough to sort of draw out enough budget to do those big ideas. So you've got to sort of step back, maybe reduce your idea down a little, and whenever you can, you can always trying to lean on like your industry friends to help out. So whether you've got a photographer, a friend, or an animator, or even a copywriter, it's always handy to have outside network that you can pull in and just to help you get things done on a lesser budget. So that's basically it, guys. Hopefully you can take something from that, but yeah, hit me up if you had any questions, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matt. That was really interesting, particularly seeing the New Balance campaign and how it came to life. That was really fantastic to see how it all came together. So we have a few questions in the chat. So We have one from Tom, who's asking what challenges are brands facing with the oversaturation of advertising messages these days? And what are some tips for how a brand can stand out? You know, how can they generally connect with an audience and really, you know, form that genuine connection?
For me, like what's the sub? It's like 7 seconds, isn't it, before people start to lose interest. So for me, it's like I said, I always think of something that I like and that I resonate with, or something that it's relatable, that it will take you back in time to a certain time you bought a product or an experience when you were on your travels. Something you can say, oh, that part of me is in that picture or that subject or that person that's telling the story, and it makes you want to share it with your friends or your family and just maybe have a laugh about it. And it's something that sort of sticks in your mind that helps elevate that campaign, if that makes sense.
That does to me. Hopefully it does to everyone else. I think very memorable. It's really important, particularly if you can get people to laugh. I find that always, you know, helps to have a hook. So we have a question from Joseph. So he's mentioned that we have students here, some from a not a native English speaking background. And I think you mentioned the word bespoke a few times.
Okay.
And some people may not have heard that. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit on what that is and why it's important?
Bespoke is just basically custom, like custom creative. So for an example, with uni days, we might have had like 3 tiers of buy-in for an investment. And one of those were maybe non-strategic. So it would just be a campaign. We'd get those visuals, we'd get the tone of voice through the copy, but there was no real strategy or idea behind it. So this was like a standalone campaign, which was a custom one. So we're trying to wrap an idea around it and give it some more substance to elevate it and, you know, make it bigger than your general buy-in.
Thank you. We also have a question from Nathan, who's one of our trainers. So he's mentioned that some students at the moment are studying a subject where they're preparing a marketing plan. So this is kind of like a 1-year marketing plan. They're thinking about multi-channel marketing campaigns that they can include in their plan. So do you have any advice on things they could do that could make their plan stand out?
I can only sort of comment. I don't really have a marketing background, although I've sort of dipped into different industries and you know, case studies and whatnot. It's hard with this one. So like the times are changing so much lately, like with AI, Canva. There's so many different platforms and channels that you sort of use. So going back to that first question, it's something that you've got to just try and make something that is relatable and engaging enough that it can transcend all platforms and you can push it through every channel. So I hope that makes sense, but yeah, in a roundabout way.
That sounds like good advice to me. We have another question. So the question is, if you have a brand with a low budget, what's kind of aspects of storytelling could you focus on?
Okay, that's a really good question. I thought you were going to hit me up about creative and the visuals. So on the creative side, it's definitely hard. The last couple of years have been pretty challenging to draw budget from clients and brands. And that's kind of why I put in that last takeaway. It's really challenging. So you got to think on your feet of how you can make the best of what you have. I kind of like saying, putting lipstick on a pig, really. That's my little saying that we do. So in terms of visuals, maybe pull in someone that can do a shoot, maybe not in a studio, just off the cuff, them and the camera, maybe like a day shoot to sort of cut down costs. And then we've used, going back to uni days, we've used the actual colleagues for like voiceovers or talent within shoots sometimes. It depends what you can get away with. So yeah, you've really just got to think on your feet in terms of visuals. But in terms of story, I think stories align with everything. So you can have a small budget, but you can still wrap that store around like a really expensive campaign, or like a minute lipstick on a pig campaign. It doesn't really matter. I think it's more about how you can sort of, I keep on saying the word elevate, but elevate it with your visuals and sort of make it bigger than what it can be.
I guess a good point. Like sometimes it's about working smarter, not harder, right? Using what you can and being creative. There's a good question here from Megan. So there's some students here who are new to graphic design, or design, I should say, or they're developing their skills. So people who are new, I guess, to design, do you have any tips for how they can develop their graphic design skills?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm old school, so I came in, I'm going to show my age here, when the first apples that became, those color wrapped plastic ones. I'm getting on in terms of age, and I guess I'm probably a little bit of a pioneer of this sort of space. So it depends what your sort of course is and what they sort of teach you, but working with junior designers in the past, I think it's important to go back to fundamentals of just doing scamps and just trying to just get down your idea. So it just depends on the day for me. I might start with mood boards or inspiration and sort of dip my toe in there. Or sometimes I might not even start with visuals. I might not even I'd step away from the computer or Pinterest or any sort of inspirational sort of platform. And I might start writing taglines or titles. So that might set the course for where the creative goes. So there's no real sort of way, there's no sort of secret sauce to it. Everyone has their way of doing things. It just depends on the day and how you feel gets you in that sort of flow space. So definitely scamping, writing down lines, writing down copy, just experimenting. And then one of my first teachers when I started design is, if you're talking software and using like Adobe and whatnot, you just got to just get lost in it. So get into each application, Adobe, Illustrator and whatnot, and just get in and just keep playing around and muck around, and you'll sort of put in that time and hours where it just becomes second nature with your key commands are a big thing, that they make you sort of faster, if you guys know what key commands are. But yeah, it's a combination of scamps, writing copy, writing slug lines, tag lines helps. And then, yeah, just sort of grabbing as much as you can and pushing that into a presentation. I like to call it like a brain dump deck. And that's where all my ideas are sort of placed. Some of the people who have worked with in the past, I kind of let them in and show them like how I kind of think and what I kind of do before I even present anything to anyone. And that's where I kind of throw in all my visuals, my inspiration. They could be like way off the actual idea, but it's just a good place to start and build on and draw from. And then I ditch that and start fresh, and I delete the pages that I don't need. And then I go out and share those ideas. But I've always got that up my sleeve just in case a question or someone gives me an idea or shares their idea, and I might have like that aha moment, and I'll go back and review that first deck.
It sounds very useful. I think staying inspired, whether you're a designer or a marketer, is always really handy, and collating those ideas, whether it's through Pinterest or if you're a deck, I think that's definitely very useful for both sides. So we have another question. This one's from Joseph. So this one's interesting. So Joseph's asking about AI and how that might change things in the future. So opportunities around jobs for marketers and designers, for example, or opening new doors to things like new opportunities for advertising campaigns, maybe. Do you have any comments there?
Yeah, definitely. Like, to be completely honest with you, I'm at a bit of a crossroads with my career and where to sort of pursue. So AI, although it's kind of scary, it's also exciting too. So I've kind of dabbled in a couple of the programs. Midjourney, Adobe Firefly is pretty fun to get in and have a play. ChatGPT has been handy for me when you want to kind of arrive or just get different ways of writing things if you're not the strongest of writers. So just a quick handy note, if you're going for a job, it's helped me in the past with like sort of getting foundations for a cover letter. So for an example, I'd get maybe my profile, the job description, and I'd sort of blend the two and ask it to sort of come up with a initial cover letter and then tweak it and make it your own, which is really handy if you're poor on time and you're going for 100 jobs in that sort of sense. But yeah, I think it's a really exciting time. It's going to be different to see how things pan out over the coming years. But yeah, it's definitely been a challenging one this year in terms of people sort of getting used to it and see how how they can implement it within their business or individually.
It's definitely a time where things are changing, and AI, I like the idea that you brought up, you can use it as your assistant. So getting you to help with maybe generating image ideas, generating cover letter ideas and things like that, rather than, 100% relying on it and taking all of that fun creativity out of it. We have another question as well. So this is from Simon. They're asking, do you work with a copywriter? And do you work in kind of an old school way where you've got creative teams within agencies? So can you talk a little bit more about, how you kind of work?
Yeah. Like, so for an example, I used to work with a copywriter at Uni Days called Dan, and we were like the first hires for Uni Days within Sydney. And we oversaw everything. So we'd be a team, we'd sit together, we'd ideate together, we'd bounce anything off each other, like stupid ideas. It just depends what would sort of stick. So nothing was left off the table. And again, going back to that sort of brain dump deck, I would throw all my ideas within that, and then Dan would go away and we'd go into separate rooms, and he'd just need time to think and be a copywriter and disappear, and then we'd recombine. So I guess that's sort of that old school way of doing it with that traditional sort of advertising creative team. But more recently, I have like a network of people that I engage or rely on or bounce ideas off, or I work consulting, but I kind of collaborate and bring people in. And parts of the business is bringing copywriting in to help me brainstorm and execute on copywriting.
It's great. It's always good to have a team around you where you can bounce ideas off. I just find that
definitely
super useful.
That's
That's
another tip to have. Sorry to cut you off there. It's definitely worthwhile when you're first starting out, just trying to build your network of people, like who you gel with. And a pro tip would be never burn your bridges, because you may work with that person in the future, or someone that they know, or especially on the hiring team. So yeah, just be nice to people and just build your network, because no matter how far or high you go up, you can always sort of lean on them for ideas or just advice.
That is so true. I find everywhere you go, it's a small world basically, and yeah, you don't want to burn bridges, that's for sure. We have a good question here from Megan. She's saying, how can you create for a brand you don't really love?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I think you just got to put your values aside, just leave them at the door, and just focus on. I know I like to say I focus on myself, but put yourself in the shoes of the audience. Put your values aside and just think of the job and the outcome. And if you do want to take it to like really personal, I guess you might not be in the right space with the right clients. So you might want to step back and maybe a career change or a different brand that aligns to something more ethical.
That's a good point. And I think with marketing on that side of things, sometimes it might help if you're not actually a big fan of the brand, because then you can, push yourself to challenge what would make me convert, and maybe get some interesting ideas there. So you could turn it into a positive as well. There's another question here from Joseph again. So Joseph asked, from your experience, how can a newly graduated student gain entry into the market for a first job?
That's a really good question. Speaking from experience, it was really hard for me to get my foot in the door, so to speak. I think I don't want to put you off design or creative here, but it took me probably at least a year to get an in. So it's different times now. Like you guys have so many different tools and like AI, like we just mentioned, to strengthen, your portfolio or your storytelling, and pull out your personal brand. But a lot of the times it's your personal network. So like I just mentioned, just trying to build and get more opportunities into meeting more people that can open those doors for you. So that's maybe going to events, going to design spaces, doing things like this, and just building a greater network. And don't be afraid. Like if you guys after this want to hit me up with any questions, feel free. So any way that you can sort of do that, I think it definitely helps to sort of get an in. But yeah, network, the strength of your work always helps, obviously. Big emphasis on personal brand and what you can sort of, bring to the table and showcase your work. That's like probably second nature for some of you younger guys, but a little bit more sort of challenging for myself.
That's some good advice there. On the note of working, and building relationships, as a designer, do you have any advice for how marketers can better work with designers?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question too. Like coming and being in a traditional advertising space, there's a lot of rock stars and a lot of different personalities. So it depends on the person and the space and the brand and the environment you're in. But a good way of getting to know the spaces and the brands or the companies that you want to work for is freelancing. That's a really good way to sort of go in, work with people, work with different brands, see how they work, what their processes are, what the people are like, and you can sort of just sort of work out, can I see myself here or not? And then I think it's just important to collaborate. Like I mentioned at the start of the masterclass, ideas come from anywhere. So I'm not one of those rock star types. I open it up the canvas or whatnot to anyone, that whether that's the commercial team, the marketing team, creative team, and we kind of just spitball ideas together. And yeah, it depends on the individual, but yeah, I'm not that type of person.
That sounds quite true. So we're coming to the end of our masterclass now, but we still have a few more minutes. So does anyone have any questions? Last chance, going once, going twice, drop them into the chat.
Did anyone want me to go back to a certain page or ask me any questions about one of the slides or anything like that? Nope, all good.
Any takers? Okay. So thank you so much again, Matt. It's been amazing. It's been really interesting to hear from you. I just want to really say thank you for turning up today and sharing your insights. I know you've given some really good tips on what it's like to work in the creative side of things and work alongside marketers. And that's been really valuable. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone in the audience for turning up, for coming along today. And thank you for the great questions as well that you guys asked. On behalf of DTA, we really thank you. If you do have any questions, do get in touch. Like Matt said, you can reach out to him. Or if there's something to do with the DTA side of things about our courses or anything else, visit our website, our LinkedIn or our Instagram and get in touch. So have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much and goodbye.
Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.